G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another one of my EV realist videos. In this series I attempt to put a more realistic view of the transition to EVs in comparison to the wildly idealistic and optimistic views that are currently being pushed by our respective governments around the world. So if you like this kind of content, it would be great to have you as a subscriber. So in this video I'm going to talk about something which is blindingly obvious to most of us, and that is that for a country the size of Australia, which is about 3,000 kilometers from side to side, EVs are just unrealistic and completely impractical. As I said before, they may be great for just local trips around urban areas, but for anyone who lives in a rural area or even in the suburbs, they're just completely impractical at this stage, given their range, the length of time it takes to charge them, and the relative scarcity of EV charging stations anywhere outside the metropolitan areas. So it's hardly a surprise that one of the bosses of Toyota has come out and essentially told Australians to avoid EVs altogether and to look at alternatives such as hybrids. So the headline reads, Toyota: EVs are only for the few. Hybrids are better suited to Australia than battery electric cars for now, says Toyota Australia at the launch of its first EV. Toyota Australia has stated that electric vehicles are less suitable for Aussies than hybrids on the same day that its first EV made its world debut. Speaking ahead of today's global reveal of the updated 2024 Toyota BZ4X, catchily named, the first Toyota EV to be sold down under from February next year, Toyota Australia Vice President of Sales, Marketing and Franchise Operations, Sean Hanley, said EVs currently don't make sense in countries like Australia, where the majority of electricity continues to come from coal-fired power stations. Hanley has long been vocal about Toyota's strength in hybrids, which he now says remain a better choice than EVs in Australia, both in terms of driver convenience and their contribution to CO2 reduction, but stresses that Toyota Australia will be ready for widespread EV adoption when the market is, which might be never. Right now, hybrid electric vehicles are a better fit than BEVs, battery electric vehicles, for most consumers, he told Australian journalists ahead of the BZ4X's debut at the Japan Mobility Show in Tokyo today. They're more affordable and don't require charging infrastructure. They're cars for the masses, not for the few. Yeah, well, I've said previously that, Teslas and these high-end EVs are luxury items for well-off middle-class inner city liberals, and that's correct. It's only those kind of people that can afford to buy them and have the facilities like off-street parking so that they can charge them overnight. Many people don't have those luxuries, and so EVs just don't make sense. He continues to plug the fact that EVs, he believes, are going to eventually be the way to go. But what I'm interested here is particularly the element of caution that he expresses in regards to pure EVs. And this is a really interesting quote here. BEVs make sense right now in places like Norway, where most energy is renewable and incomes are high. But Australia is not Europe. Hanley emphasised that in most Australian states and in many other countries including China, power generation is still largely dependent on fossil fuels. And he cited Federal Energy Department figures showing that fossil fuels contributed 68% of total electricity generation in Australia last year. And that's, it's a question a lot of people who buy EVs don't ask, is where the electricity to charge them is coming from. Unless you have solar panels on your roof and you can charge your EV purely from solar, then the chances are you're just burning fossil fuels to charge your EV. That's why Toyota adopts a different approach in each country and region in which we operate, recognising and respecting diverse cultures, lifestyles, roads, vehicle choices, ways of using cars, and access to various energy sources, he said. In countries like Australia, our data suggests that hybrids can have a greater impact than full electrification in getting carbon off the road. Our scientists at the Toyota Research Institute call it the 1-6-90 rule. They have calculated that the raw materials required to produce one long-range BEV could instead be used to make 6 PHEVs or 90 HEVs. So PHEV is plug-in hybrid and HEV is hybrid, pure hybrid. This enables us to reduce the tailpipe emissions of 90 cars rather than focusing on a single car that is powered in many cases by electricity generated from coal, not to mention being impractical for the vast majority of Australian motorists. Absolutely, they totally are. Quite frankly, I don't have a problem with hybrids. There's still a risk with the batteries, of course, because they still have the lithium-ion batteries, but pure hybrid EVs don't have to rely on a charging infrastructure that just isn't there. Well, there's very little I can add to that other than to say absolutely. And so many car manufacturers are putting all their eggs in the EV basket, and there's no certainty that EV will be the technology that eventually replaces internal combustion engine vehicles. Who knows? As I've always said, human ingenuity always wins out. There could be, far better sources of energy for cars just around the corner, who knows? And that's what our governments are refusing to do. They're not allowing the technology to develop sufficiently. They've staked all their money on EVs, and they're not going to let go. So thanks very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to smash that like. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now.